There's a moment that happens when you check your savings account, and instead of that familiar knot in your stomach, you feel something else, something steady, something like peace. It's not when you become a millionaire. It's not even when you hit six figures. It's a much smaller number than you'd expect, and reaching it quietly transforms your entire relationship with money. I'm going to tell you exactly what that number is, why it matters so much for women in midlife, and how getting there changes not just your finances, but your sense of safety and possibility. If you spend years putting everyone else first, raising children, supporting a partner, caring for aging parents, or simply keeping everything running, you might feel like your own financial foundation got built last, or maybe not at all. Maybe you're starting over after a divorce. Maybe you took time away from your career and you're trying to figure out what comes next. Maybe you've always worked, but never quite felt like you had enough cushion to breathe. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know something important. There is a specific financial milestone that acts like a turning point. Once you reach it, the entire game shifts in your favor. That number is $20,000 in savings. Not invested in retirement accounts you can't touch, not equity in your home, $20,000 that belongs to you, accessible when you need it. Let me explain why this particular amount matters so much and why it's especially powerful for women navigating this stage of life. When you don't have savings, your brain operates in a constant state of alert. Psychologists call this scarcity thinking, and it affects everything: your sleep, your decisions, your health, your relationships. Every unexpected expense feels like a crisis. The car needs new brakes, the refrigerator stops working, your hours get cut at work. When there's no buffer, these ordinary disruptions become emergencies that can spiral into debt. Living this way is exhausting, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle where you're always reacting, never planning. Here's what research tells us. Having even a modest emergency fund, just a few $1,000s, measurably reduces financial anxiety and improves overall well-being. But something more significant happens when that cushion grows to several months of living expenses. For most women, that lands somewhere around $20,000. At that point, your nervous system finally gets the message that you're okay. You're not one flat tire away from disaster. You have room to think, to choose, to breathe. You might wonder why $20,000 specifically. Why not 15 or 25? The answer has to do with what this amount actually represents in practical terms. For most households, $20,000 covers roughly 3 to 6 months of essential expenses: housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance. It's enough to weather a job loss, handle a medical situation, or manage an unexpected life transition without going into debt. But beyond the practical math, there's something else happening at this threshold. When your savings account shows 5 figures, your brain processes it differently than 4 figures. It feels substantial. It feels like you've accomplished something real. And that psychological shift, feeling like you have actual resources, changes how you move through the world. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from clarity. Here's where the math becomes genuinely encouraging. Let's say you're able to save $500 a month. At that pace, reaching $20,000 takes about 3.5 years. That might feel slow, but stay with me. Once you have that foundation and you keep saving at the same rate while earning modest returns on your money, your second $20,000 comes faster. Your savings are now generating their own growth, working alongside your contributions. By the time you're building toward your third milestone, the acceleration becomes noticeable. The same effort produces bigger results because you have more working for you. This is the principle of compound growth, and it's not complicated or mysterious. It's simply mathematics rewarding consistency over time. The first milestone is the hardest. Everyone after that gets progressively easier, not because you're doing more, but because your money starts carrying some of the weight. Let me describe what actually shifts once you cross this threshold, because it goes far beyond numbers on the screen. Your relationship with work changes. When you have several months of expenses saved, you're no longer trapped in a job that drains you. You have what I call breathing room, the ability to look for something better, negotiate for what you deserve, or take time to figure out your next chapter without panic. This doesn't mean being reckless. It means having options. And having options changes how you carry yourself. You become more willing to advocate for yourself because the stakes of any single conversation feel lower. Your relationship with emergencies changes. That call from the mechanic saying repairs will cost $1,200, it's inconvenient, but it's not devastating. Your adult child needs help with a security deposit, you can consider it without spiraling. An unexpected medical bill arrives, you handle it. These situations don't disappear, but they stop being catastrophic. They become manageable problems instead of financial emergencies. Your relationship with opportunity changes. This might be the most profound shift. When you're in survival mode, you can't even see opportunities. Your brain is too busy managing threats. But with a solid foundation, you start noticing possibilities. A certification program that could advance your career, a small investment in a friend's business, the chance to take a lower-paying position that offers better long-term prospects. Having resources means having choices, and choices create momentum.
Here's something important that often gets overlooked. Saving $20,000, especially if you're starting from very little, requires you to become a different kind of person. Someone who tracks where money goes. Someone who distinguishes between wants and needs. Someone who can delay gratification when it matters. By the time you reach this goal, you've proven something to yourself. You've demonstrated that you can take control of your financial life. That knowledge stays with you and influences every decision going forward. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's bad with money or who could never get ahead. You become someone who builds, someone who plans, someone who follows through. That identity shift is worth more than the dollars themselves because it's the foundation for everything you'll build next. Now, I want to gently address something I see happen too often. Women reach this milestone, feel that sense of accomplishment and relief, and then undermine their own progress. Maybe it's a vacation they've been postponing for years. Maybe it's finally upgrading the car. Maybe it's helping a family member in a way that empties the account. I understand the impulse. You've worked hard. You deserve good things. And you do. But that $20,000 isn't a reward to spend. It's a foundation to build on. It's the seed that, given time, grows into genuine long-term security. The psychological benefits, the peace, the options, the confidence, only work if the money stays there. Spend it, and you're back to square one, starting the difficult climb all over again. Be protective of this foundation. It's doing important work just by existing. Once you have this cushion, something interesting happens with major purchases. Instead of asking, can I afford the monthly payment, you start asking, what is this actually costing me? That newer car with a $300 payment isn't just $300 a month. It's $300 that could be growing in your savings, compounding over years, building toward your security. I'm not saying never buy anything nice. I'm saying you start making these decisions with full awareness of the trade-offs. Often, you realize you don't actually want half the things you thought you wanted. The bigger apartment, the expensive renovation, the lifestyle upgrades that drain accounts without adding much real satisfaction. When you have clear financial goals and understand how growth works over time, it becomes easier to tell the difference between what sounds appealing and what actually matters to you. If you're watching this after a divorce, a job loss, a health crisis, or any situation that's left you feeling financially vulnerable, I want to speak directly to you. $20,000 might feel impossibly far away right now. That's okay. The path there matters as much as the destination. Start where you are. If that means saving $50 from your next paycheck, that's a beginning. If it means finding one expense to eliminate or one way to earn a little extra, that's progress. The women who build financial security in midlife aren't the ones who started with advantages. They're the ones who refused to give up on themselves, who kept going even when progress felt painfully slow. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future self. Every month you stay consistent is proof that you can do this. Let me leave you with something concrete. If you don't know exactly where your money goes each month, start there. Track everything for 30 days. No judgment, just information. If you have high-interest debt, especially credit cards, focus on that alongside building a small starter emergency fund. Even $1,000 set aside can prevent new debt from accumulating. If you're already saving but feel stuck, look at your largest expenses: housing, transportation, insurance, and ask whether there's room to optimize.
Small daily expenses matter less than these big categories. And if you're doing all of this already, keep going. Consistency beats intensity every time.
$20,000 won't make you wealthy overnight, but it will give you something invaluable: the experience of financial stability, the knowledge that you can handle what life brings, the freedom to make choices based on what you want, not just what you're afraid of. That foundation changes everything that comes after. You deserve to feel secure. You deserve to sleep without worrying about money. You deserve options. Start building that foundation today. Your future self, calmer, more confident, more free, is counting on the decision you make right now, and she will absolutely thank you for it.